Hello, good morning. Welcome to our 23rd episode. And today, in our 23rd day of our conversation over a cup of coffee, over breakfast, I will be talking to you about obedience in action. Obedience, not just to our uh, traditional local authority, that is the Diocesan Bishop, but in obedience to God's will. How do we determine that all these callings, invitations really came from within us, came from God Himself, reminding us in our ministry to go and proclaim the good news. So there must be a sense of obedience coming from us inwardly, obedience in order for us to put all these things into action. Okay, that will be our topic for today. Let's start. Action. In communicating for a change, spiritual maturity is measured by application, not contemplation. In the book of James, it says, faith without deeds is useless. That's coming from James chapter 2, verse 20. When Jesus was asked which of the commandments were the greatest, he summarized the entire law with two action-oriented imperatives. One, to love God. That's an action word. To love God and to love your neighbor. Okay. You can show obedience to God even as you wait for guidance, direction, or new opportunities. Number one, use the time to develop patience and perseverance. In fact, this may be the main reason why the Lord is delaying. Delaying. There is always a reason for everything. Sabi pa nga natin. Number two, resist the urge to get angry or depressed while waiting, patiently waiting. The enemy will take advantage of the situation to cultivate fear, pride, or anxiety. Take note of that. Don't give him any leverage. Let me share this with you, my knowledge on anger and how to manage anger or anger management. I got this way back. Just a summary of what is anger management. Listen, ha. It says, when you are angry, you are mad. MAD, you are mad. When you are mad, you are out of your mind. Of course, when you are out of your mind, do not decide. Do not do anything that you would only regret later. Let your emotions, let your anger subside. When it subsided already, that's the time you get up and make an action. Some kind of do something about it. Okay? That's a short summary on anger, which is very, very, very true. Lalo na sa ngayon. Where every day in our lives today, we are always tempted to get angry and anxious of the things we expected to come, yet we do not know what will happen next. Will it come or not? Our self-defense, self-defense, the usual is anger. That's why I'm sharing that to you. When you're angry, you are mad. When you are mad, you are out of your mind. When you are out of your mind, don't decide. Don't do anything that you would only regret later. Allow it to subside. And that's the time to stand up and do something about it. Inulit ko lang for emphasis. Alright, number 3, avoid getting ahead of God. Lagi ko itong sinasabi. Have patience, mga kapatid, dahil let's realize in our role into God's plan of salvation, we are only invited to do work in His vineyard. As invited, He considers our gifts, giftedness, our capabilities. Pero the truth is, you are still invited. Pero God considers our capabilities into the field where we are invited to do God's work. So wag natin siyang pangunahan. Relax lang. Take it easy. Dahil as uninvited, we will wait for His instruction kung anong ipapagawa sa atin. So don't move forward with any new activities until you have His guidance or blessings. You might say, paano natin malaman, Paddy? Simple lang. Huwag kang maging atat. Relax ka lang. Pray, meditate, at doon mo malalaman yung sinasabi nating direction na ituturo niya for us. Basta just get ready. Sharpen your intelligence and your capabilities, because at that moment when God gives us the go signal, ayos. Saludo tayo, lahat ay nakaredy na para sa gawaing simbahan. Take note of that, ha? Huwag masyadong nagmamadali dahil gusto natin agad-agad may makita tayo, ano bang nagawa ako? No. Wait for His instruction. Fourth, don't neglect your daily activities. Isa din to. Paminsan, we're so immersed in what you are doing. And most of the time, immersed tayo sa ating ministry. Yung basic na ginagawa natin most of the time ay naiiwan natin. Naiiwan yung ating responsibility to our husband, to our wife, to our children. Lahat ng mga routine natin na ginagawa everyday, binabaliwala na rin natin. Dahil you are so focused on what God wants you to do in your ministry. Relax lang. Importante ito, nag-cooperate tayo sa Kanya. Okay? Don't neglect your daily activities. Like the woman in the Proverbs, in verse 31, be sure to care for yourself, your family, and those in need around you. Hindi natin alam by doing it. In need around you, by doing that, you are already called for that. Ministry mo na pala yun. Di ba? So, once the Lord does give you the answer you're waiting for or the opportunity you need, then it's time to take action. Sabi nga natin, action speaks louder than words. Right. So, if God gives you an answer to a question, write it down. Write it down. Make it a habit. Any good things na pumapasok sa isip nyo, which is good, write it down. Dahil most of the time, nawawala yun. Kinukuha niya. Sometimes God gives us a whole picture, and sometimes it's just a piece of puzzle. Either way, cherish the fact that God is sharing His heart with you. Okay? Second, if God says go, then go. Where He sends you and do what He asks you to do. Don't delay. Yun naman lang. Pag andyan na, go signal na, kitang-kita na natin, we felt it, andyan yung mga signs na pinapapahiwatig sa atin, go na tayo. Don't delay or waste the opportunity because God, its opportunity knocks only once. When it comes, grab it. It might not come back again. Okay? Third, if God's answer is no, then it's no. Stay cool and be contented. Stay where you are, decline the offer, pray about plan B, etc. Whatever the situation is, honor God's decision. Trust in His decision. He has your best interest at heart. Ganda, no? Okay. So don't settle for less than a mature, intimate relationship with the Lord. Begin developing a spirit of surrender, faith, trust, and obedience in the Lord today. Okay? So, sabi ko kanina, when we talk of obedience in action, it does not necessarily mean that we are just within the context of obeying what the bishop says. What we are trying to share with you is above our best practices of leadership of our bishop, we have our own inner, personal, intimate relationship with God, that as we relate ourselves with God, He also relates Himself with us. Those are things na dapat nating pinagbibigyan siya ng panahon. Because in prayer, we don't just ask and ask and ask. But in prayer, we also keep silence because we wanted to listen to God as what God has to say about us in our life, in our ministry, and in our church today. Okay? That's all for today. Maraming salamat po sa lahat. Don't forget your coffee. Good morning. Magandang buhay. See you tomorrow.